All right, guys, we got a good show for you today. We have Zach Rozsman. He goes to Walton High School. He's committed to Appalachian State. Thanks for coming on, man.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, so we always start out with Would You Rathers. Would you rather be forced to listen to the same 10 songs on repeat for the rest of your life, or forced to watch the same 5 movies on repeat for the rest of your life?
I'm gonna have to go with the movies just because I'm more of a music guy and I can't be listening to the same 10 songs.
I know, man. It gets repetitive. I swear, if I listen to the same song for like 3 straight days, then I get tired of it.
I know, me too.
Yeah. Okay. Would you rather go without shampoo for the rest of your life or toothpaste?
It's gonna have to be shampoo. You gotta keep the breath fresh. You know what I mean?
I know. Also, like over time, your teeth will just turn like black, I imagine.
Exactly.
You can't do that. Okay. It was May 4th week, so we asked everyone this. Everyone's gave the same answer, so I'm interested to see what you say. Would you rather talk like Yoda or breathe like Darth Vader for the rest of your life?
I'm gonna have to go breathe like Darth Vader.
Yeah, calling plays, everyone respects you more. When you make an audible, they'll be like,
They'll take me more seriously.
yeah, they will. I want to talk about your high school season. You guys played a bunch of tough teams, right?
Okay.
You played more games than I think almost anyone in the country did because you played 12.
Yep.
About 5. Talk about your season as a whole. How do you feel it went?
So we were very fortunate enough to get our 12 games in. With COVID and everything, a lot of teams they had many people contact trace or positive tests, so they had to miss 2 weeks, and we didn't have to miss. I don't think we missed anything all year, and we were probably the only team I know of that was able to do that. And I think we had a very good year. We obviously play one of the toughest schedules in high school football in the whole country. We're in 7A Georgia, some of the best teams in the whole country, and so I think the season went very well. We've made it to Sweet 16 4 or 5 years in a row, and we're putting everything together. And this is our year to go make a run, I believe.
Yeah, you guys played teams like North Cobb and all those teams. For name one of them. Do you think playing that tough like non-conference schedule really is going to help you over time to maybe make that run?
Yes, I think so because once you get into the playoffs, you're not playing teams in the same region as you. So once at the beginning of the year when we're playing all these tough non-conference games, it prepares you for the playoffs and able to make a run. It's always good to get experience against some of these top teams around the state, just because you may see them down the road again during the playoffs.
Yeah. What are you guys working on to improve as a team next year? Right now.
So right now we're just, we're in spring ball right now, and basically our whole focus for spring ball is just developing. So learning, really learning the ins and outs of the offense, the defense, and stuff like that. And so right now we're just focusing on getting everything down so we can, go in with a full head of steam in the summer and eventually the season.
Yeah. So what is an important trait you think you value in a teammate the most?
I'm going to have to go with just having a good connection, a good chemistry with them, especially as a QB, the most important, the connection with your O-line, your receivers, your running back and stuff. I think the most important trait is just having a good connection with your teammates and all being on the same page.
Yeah. You talked about your receivers and the connection. Did you guys run a shortened playbook or condensed playbook this year, or were you able to run everything you wanted?
So the interesting thing about our playbook is, we've got a pretty big playbook, but the thing is each week, depending on what kind of defense we're going up against, depending on the team we're going up against and what scheme they run, we run different parts of our playbook. So some weeks we'll be doing more running. Some weeks it'll be very pass heavy. And so this past season, if you look through all the games and stuff, a lot of it's, pretty much our whole playbook, but some games shows you bits and pieces of it. And the other cool thing that we do is each week, like I said, depending on the scheme we go up against, we put in like a lot of new plays actually. So we do variations of current plays we have. And that's the one thing I like. We're very diverse offense. We can do anything really that we need to do. So,
that helps you, speaking of next year, teams can't, think about what you're already going to play and then maybe get a step ahead. You're like a step ahead on them on the offense.
Exactly.
You committed to Appalachian State. What made that the school for you?
So basically, the reason why I committed there is just because. So right off the bat, when I had first time I ever talked with one of the coaches, they're very persistent with me. Every single day I was talking with the offense coordinator as well as the offensive grad assistant. Every single day we were doing phone calls, Zooms, texting, and I really built a good relationship with them, better than any other school I was talking to at the time. And so, each day my interest was, gradually increasing more and more about them. And started doing research in the school, started watching some of their games and stuff. And I was like, starting to get really interested. And then as I started getting more serious about making the decision, I decided to go up to visit. Obviously, I couldn't visit the facilities or anything due to the restrictions, but I went up to, Boone and visited the town immediately. It's very outdoorsy. I like being out in nature and stuff, and it's just the perfect spot for that. And I really fell in love with the campus, built a good relationship with the coach and or the coaches. And obviously, they're a very good program. Historically, they do very well. And so, that was a big part of the decision making. And decided to commit.
It's a great campus. I've visited. That was one of my final schools, but we cut the tennis program there, so I went to Lafayette. But that happened to a bunch of schools. But that was one of my final schools before, so 100% see why you did that. So you are the first commit. You were the first to commit in your class. Did you talk to any of the guys who were thinking about coming, or have you not really had any contact with any of those guys?
So right now, what I've kind of been doing is, I've been in communications with the coaches, and they kind of tell me some of the dudes they're looking at, specifically like receivers and stuff. And so what I'll do is I'll reach out to some of them, and sometimes they don't answer, sometimes they do,
Yeah.
But and then a lot of the time what I do is I'm trying to help, the whole recruiting process right now. So guys that I've played against or guys that I play with, I tell my coaches like, hey, you need to take a look at this guy. And so it's exciting to be, the first commit in the class, just because you really get to help build the class up, and you're a big part of the decision, or I get to be a big part of the decision making for which guys they want to go for and stuff like that. So it's a cool position to have.
Yeah, I was saying same thing for me there. It's like really cool just to get to like you feel like you're like a little bit more part of the team when you're doing that.
Exactly.
You're in the group of five. I feel like Appalachian State has become kind of a powerhouse in that. What do you think of some of these teams that might not be getting as much respect in like the bowl games and the rankings as they deserve?
I think I think a team like App State, yearly we're beating bigger P5 teams, whether it's South Carolina, North Carolina, any of those teams. So I think we just got to continue that to get the more respect. More respect. Obviously not being a P5 team, whoever makes the rankings and stuff like that in the bowl games won't respect you as much. But I think that's one of the things. I'm on a mission to, you guys want to go up there and prove everyone wrong that ever doubted me and stuff like that, and go up there, win a lot of games, and hopefully get up in high in the rankings and stuff like that, and get into some bowl games and show people what kind of program App State really is.
Yeah. So when you were like a kid, what made you want to be a quarterback? Was there a player, or was there just flag football? You're like, yeah, I want to do this.
So the thing that made me really want to do it was probably just, I would watch the game, growing up watching football all the time. And I always thought QB was the coolest position out there. I liked how they were pretty much the center of what was going on. And I really liked that responsibility and being a leader and stuff like that. So I started off playing running back when I was younger. And then eventually I got into that QB role, and I really fell in love with it. And then, when I realized I could throw pretty well, I kind of stuck with it. And I'm also, watching some of my favorite players growing up, like Aaron Rodgers and Brady, and those guys. I was like, I want to be like them someday. And so that's why I fell in love with the position.
Was there any specific player you modeled your game after, or do you just kind of do your own thing?
Let's see. So there's probably three guys that come to mind. Not exactly what I personally, I love being myself and stuff like that. But what I like to do is I like to take bits and pieces from some people's game and kind of, try to adapt it to my own. So three guys that come to mind are obviously Rodgers, Mahomes, and Brady. Each of them all have something, about them that I'd like to incorporate in my game. Like for Rodgers and Brady, it's the playmaking ability. And then, or no, sorry, Rodgers and Mahomes, the playmaking ability. For Brady is just the consistency, the leadership, the game managing, all that kind of stuff. I like to take bits and pieces of what they do and try to, incorporate it into my game.
Yeah. What would be one piece of advice you give to a kid that's like just starting football, flag football, pee-wee stuff?
Let's see. So piece of advice, I'll give a couple. So first one obviously is have fun with what you're doing. You shouldn't be wasting your time if you're not having fun. Second of all is be confident in yourself. I personally, I try and go out there every single practice game, just having as much confidence as possible. Cause if you want to perform well, you gotta, tell yourself and believe in yourself. You know what I mean? And then lastly, just don't listen to all the negativity out there and stuff like that. You see it I was watching the draft a couple weeks ago. you got guys like Lawrence, Zach Wilson, all these guys getting drafted really high, and you've got some of these analysts saying, "Oh, he sucks, blah blah blah. His schedule's weak, all that stuff." You just got to block that out. They got nothing better to do than say stuff like that. So I think one of the biggest pieces of advice is just don't listen to all the negativity. Keep your deer in or blinders type thing, and just keep pushing forward. Don't listen to it, and you'll go a long way.
Yeah, you actually might find this interesting. So I went down to the Boca Raton Bowl where Zach Wilson played this year. I happened to be at the team hotel where they happened to be staying, and I saw him, Zach, and he was just sitting by himself. So I just like went up to him. I just like I asked for him if he'd sign something. He's like, yeah, you want to sit down? He was watching film, so I was like watching film with him for like 20, 30 minutes. It was the coolest experience of my life,
Awesome.
and I got to ask him a few questions just about like how he had the mental approach, the game. And I did get to ask him about that question, how people were saying about his size and stuff. He said to me, I'll never forget, he said, it doesn't matter what they say, it matters how you prepare. If I prepare better than anyone else, I'm going to win the game.
Exactly. Exactly. And it's important to have that mentality because, if you sit there and you listen to every little thing, negative thing everyone's saying about you, you're going to become a head case. You're going to be a mess and you won't be able to go out and perform. So just who cares what anyone else says? It's all about what you do. Like Zach said.
Yeah. Where do you work on the off season right now to get yourself better as a player?
So I'll kind of go over my little weekly schedule that I've been doing recently. So our football program, our head coach is we're a very lift oriented team, if you will. We lift a ton, and so we stay very busy. We've been lifting, pretty much 5 days a week actually this off season at school, and so that's obviously, I'm getting my strength up doing stuff like that, with the team lifts. Also in this off season, we've been doing Tuesday and Thursday at 6 a.m. We do our speed and agility runs with the team. So, we stay very busy as a team. And I think that helps when I go back to that, chemistry and connection thing that I talked about earlier. It kind of helps because we're spending so much time together in the off season, lots of programs, you don't really see your guys that much, but, I've been seeing my guys pretty much every single day of the year for the last, 3 years. Then another thing I do is I throw with my, private QB coach every weekend. I usually do a group session with them with other guys. Sometimes if I want to work on something really specific, we'll do an individual session. And yeah, and then sometimes I'll go up to the field, do some running stuff or to call a receiver and be like, hey, you want to go throw today? And we'll go throw and stuff like that. So just little things to keep me fresh and stuff like that. And obviously now that we're in spring, I've got practice every single day and stuff. And it's pretty much what I've been up to.
Yeah. Final two questions. I wanted you to kind of give your take on this or talk about it. A lot of people when they're watching TV, right, they're thinking you're a quarterback, you're throwing to someone he's open, but like you're actually throwing him open. You're throwing, you know what I mean?
Yep,
Can you kind of
exactly.
talk about that? Like people don't really understand that, I feel like.
Yeah, I know. It's funny watching games with people that don't really know what's going on because you'll watch a game and we'll say the QB throws a pick, makes a mistake, bad throw. Everyone's like, oh, this guy sucks, blah blah blah. What is he doing? Why didn't he just throw it? Well, it's not as easy as you may think. At this, each level it gets more difficult and difficult. But even right now in high school, so a lot of these DBs are very good and stuff, and so a lot of it's anticipation. You're not often going to find a dude that's wide open where you can throw it right at him. A lot of the time you got to throw him open, like you said. And it gets challenging. But I enjoy the challenge. But yeah, you have to obviously have to throw it open. You have to anticipate the holes and stuff. And sometimes you're gonna have to fit a ball in, into a small window and stuff like that. And that's just part of it. But you're rarely gonna see a wide open throw unless it's just a blown coverage or you're really exploiting some hole in their defense that's wide open. But yeah, it's difficult and it's funny that a lot of people don't realize that and they think it's very easy, but it's not.
Yeah, I think it was funny. I never actually got to ask. I think I've had 15 quarterbacks on overtime. I've never asked that question, but I always get it. They're always like people end up watching their film afterward and they're like showing me as I'm like, guys, it's some of these guys are like fifth, fourth round grades in the draft. I'm like, calm
Yeah.
down.
Yeah, no, everyone loves to be a football critic and when they don't know anything about it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel that for sure. Final question. We ask it to everyone. It's always our hardest one. How do you want people to remember yourself when your football career is over?
That's a good question. That's tough. My goal is to just be a role model for a lot of the younger kids and stuff like that. Because when I was younger, I looked up to. I remember being in elementary school, even middle school. I'd go to the high school games and stuff every Friday, and I looked up and I looked up to those dudes as if they were gods. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
they were like heroes to me almost going to the games and stuff. And I was like, man, I can't wait one day. Like it's gonna be the craziest feeling one day being in high school and stuff like that. And so, my goal, I want to be remembered as just kind of the, that good role model and leader that a lot of kids look up to, hopefully. And just want to be, I kind of want to just, you know, obviously play very well and stuff and be a good influence on, a lot of the younger people as well as just on anyone I can really, if they, just, I don't really know how to, sorry, I'm rambling a little bit, but it just kind of just being a good influence, good role model for a lot of people. And, that's what I want to be remembered as.
Yeah, well, Zach, I appreciate you coming on. I think next year, me and some of the boys are making our own like makeshift studio and doing some stuff.
Nice.
Austin, those guys. So we'll have to get you back on when we're at
Awesome.
college getting it going. So I appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.